Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's very interesting. We're talking about travel, both from a financial and a destination perspective. And we've got people calling in from Cordoba, Spain, from Venice, Florida, from Mississauga, Ontario, and elsewhere in Ontario. So it's very real for the panelists here, and hopefully you'll get some good tips from us on how to plan for trips, how to take advantage of some money saving ideas while you're traveling, and how to find destinations that are appealing. So I'm going to introduce Erik, who's going to talk about the financial side of planning. And we have Angel on the line. Angel's in Cordoba, and he's going to talk about some money-saving tips that I find that were very useful. And by the way, we use these things. Both Angel, Erik, and myself and Per have taken advantage of all these ideas to make our travel more affordable and enjoyable. So let me pass this on to Erik, and I look forward to hearing the presentation myself.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jeff, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Hopefully this inspires you to book your next trip or gives you a little bit of light and sunshine. If you're here in the GTA, Mississauga, it's a little gloomy and cold, so no better way to warm up than to talk about travel. So to get it started, I'll look at the fun stuff, so the financing and the tips on the money side of it, and then we'll get into our travel tips with Angel and travel tips with Gabby as well. So you know the team, but in case you haven't seen us or you want to put a name to the face, here we are. Great crew, expanding with Joan and Anna Maria, and very excited to be servicing and presenting for you today. So without further ado, let's get started, and we will look at our financial tips first and foremost. We'll get back to Gabby and Angel, but very excited to have them on our panel today. All right, so the first thing is using the TFSA. I mean, many of you might know this, but the benefits of the TFSA, one, any money in there, for one, it's after-tax money, but any money in the TFSA is tax-free. So you can move money in and out without any tax consequences compared to, say, an RSP. If you make a withdrawal, you have to pay withholding taxes and it gets added to your income. So TFSA is a great way to, one, save for emergencies, save for other expenses, and save for travel. So number one is, if you haven't been using a TFSA, it's a great tool to be putting money in and storing it there for future travel. So great thing about that is you don't have to worry about the tax side of it, and you also get to keep all the dividends, capital gains, and interest. All that grows tax-free. So really nice way to build up your travel savings through that. You do have to be mindful of TFSA contribution room, but as long as you're 18, you can contribute to your TFSA. And next year, you'll be able to contribute $7,000 to the TFSA for the year. And if you haven't contributed and you were 18 when they started it back in, I think, 2009, it's $88,000 that you can put in. So a nice pool there that you can use. And the nice thing is that one additional point is, if you're planning on making a withdrawal in the coming months of the year, it's not a bad time to, say, Jan, February, March, not a bad time to consider maybe making a TFSA withdrawal by the end of this year, so before the 31st. The reason being is that when you make a TFSA withdrawal, that gets added back as of Jan 1 of next year. So essentially, if you need to take out 40,000 for whatever reason, you take it out December 31st. Jan 1, you get 40,000 plus the 7,000 that your newly created room will equal to, rather than if you pull it out on Jan 1, you have to wait until Jan 1 of the following year to recontribute to your TFSA. So little healthy tidbit there. With that, let's move on to the second tip. RSP. So in conjunction with the TFSA, Jeff and I were talking about some of these tips. One of the really nice advantages of the RSP, and one of the most important, is if you are making significant income, taxable income, you can use the RSP to your advantage and get a nice tax refund. And if you have RSP room, you can check your notice of assessment to see what's available. But essentially, the strategy is if you have cash flow, you can plan for it. If you can make a sizable RSP contribution based on your room and you're making decent level of income, you can get between 30, 40, 50%, depending on your tax bracket, back in the form of an RSP refund, assuming you've been paying taxes throughout the year. And if you are a salaried employee, likely you are. And then what you can do is use that tax refund to either save for a future trip, pay down debt, or build up this travel expense pool. So it's a really nice way to, one, build up your personal savings and also use those fruits in order to fill up your other buckets. So really nice tool there. You generally would not want to be pulling from your RSP for travel. We like to consider RSP kind of like your own personal pension. So nice thing is you can access it if you need to, so it can become an emergency set of reserves. But we would often say consider a line of credit beforehand. The reason being is that you're adding this amount to your income and you will have to pay taxes on it. So there's going to be withholding, and generally the tax burden is higher than some other sources. So it's one of the pieces of the puzzle, but generally put into your RSP, create some room, use that to fund the TFSA and fund some travel. A nice way to build up your overall net worth and put some travel money aside. Next. Okay, so we talked about TFSAs, we talked about RSPs. Now let's look at non-registered accounts, which are essentially a bank account that can hold investments. You can hold anything under the sun. The main difference between RSP, TFSAs, and non-registered accounts are that these type of accounts you do have to pay taxes on. So if you receive dividends, receive interest, you'll get a slip at the end of the year and you include that in your taxes and you have to pay taxes on the amounts that you've received. So generally what we'd like to do is try and top up RSPs and TFSAs. And if that's done, then the non-registered account generally becomes the catch-all account. But what we can do in these types of account are offer what's called a corporate class holding, which essentially converts interest and dividends into a more tax efficient form of income. So it does help improve tax efficiency, and we can offer that in different styles of investments to match your time frames, your risk tolerance and needs. But a really nice tool if you have money that is in a non-registered account, you're looking to save it tax efficiently. Corporate class offer a really great solution for that. So we looked at RSPs, looked at TFSAs, looked at non-registered accounts. Leah, do we have anything else on the financial side of things? Okay, so we looked at those four. If there's something in the, say, 6 month, 3 to 6 month range, you know you likely will need the money. You don't necessarily want it in your bank account. There is a really nice offering that we've been using with a lot of clients this year, and that's one of these high interest funds. Generally, the high interest funds that you have at the bank or a high interest bank account, I'm not sure what exactly the rates are right now, but 1.5%, maybe 2%, maybe on the high end of it. This fund basically pools from deposits from the main Canadian banks, and it's essentially like a not locked in GIC, so a cashable GIC that compounds interest daily and pays it out monthly, and it's tied to the interest rate. Currently paying a net yield of about 5.11%. So making your money work a little bit harder for you, especially if you have a sizable pool. I mean, say over 20,000 that's sitting there, might as well double the interest that you're receiving if you can. And if you have TFSA room, worth considering having that in there. And there's no locked in period and no fee for early redemptions, nothing like that. You can access the funds and get it back in your bank account in 2 business days. So something that's great if you need something liquid but wanted to earn a little bit more. So wanted to share that as it's a great little bucket for travel money. Leah, next. Perfect. So I will, this will serve as a transition, and Angel, you can jump in if you'd like after, but we're going to transition now to some travel tips and some tools that you can use. And we've got a great expert, Angel, who's traveled the world and has some wonderful stories about places that he's been. Always enjoy learning where he's going off to next. And to start us off, I will lead this one and talk about AirAllo, which is basically an eSIM. So I don't know how many have heard of an eSIM, but it essentially allows you to add a SIM card on your phone without having to pop out and pop in a new SIM card or buy it from another provider. You download the AirAllo app, you pay $5 and you get about 5 gigs of data. And you can then use all of your data apps and turn on this additional line on your phone without having to go through another carrier, and basically use any other carrying services. I know Rogers offers Roam Like Home, but for one day, I think it's 15 to, they keep raising
Yeah.
the prices. It can be quite extensive. Whereas this, you pay $3 to $5, you get more than enough gigs, and it'll allow you to use your apps as you would. Now, the caveat being is it does give you a new cell phone number, so it's fine for iPhone users. If you're doing iMessage, it does work. WhatsApp still works, but if you're receiving calls, it doesn't work quite as well because you do get a new number. But you can use all of your apps if you want Maps on, if you want Uber, quite handy. Your banking, any of that, it does allow you to do that. And it's very affordable and it works in almost every country. So we've both used it and it works great. And I highly recommend it as it's a great option for an eSIM.
Yeah, yeah. I just want, Eric, I wanted to add something before we leave financial, and
Sure.
that is, I mean, that is really having a look at your, your travel budget for the year or the next 2 years, and really thinking about setting up side accounts that are automatically populated every month. If you're earning a salary, you take a certain percentage out a month. So let's say your travel budget is $12,000, just to pick a round number. Um, and your RSP refund, if you're going to overfund your RSP, is going to be $3,000 or $4,000. So the difference, whether it's five, six, seven, $8,000, you can look at breaking that up and putting that into a side account on a monthly basis, so that the money accumulates. And it's amazing once you start doing that. It is kind of amazing. You kind of forget about the fact that it's done, and when it comes time to travel, you've got the money set aside already, and that becomes a habit, and the following year gets even easier. So that's something I've certainly taken advantage of all my traveling life, and I know it works. So I encourage you to work with a planner and work those things through in advance. And as far as Arrow, though, by the way, it does seem to work very well with WhatsApp. And WhatsApp has its own number or its own way of communicating. So I was able to communicate with Angel, for instance, who doesn't have an iPhone. And when I was using Airolo as my data source. But I mean, I traveled all over Italy just this last month for 2 weeks, and I used, I think, less than 5 gigs of data, and I was able to access in every destination effortlessly. I was online immediately. As soon as I landed, it was connected. So very, very good, very easy to work, and it's all virtual. It's all done online.
That's great. I just wanted to address one of the questions. Hi, Linda. Thanks for joining us. A seasoned traveler herself, so we've
Yes.
got some great
And
expertise
Julia,
here.
hi Julia.
And so Linda was mentioning some eSIMs don't work for all phones. That is true. You need a more modern phone. It does work on Apple and Android. It just depends on how recent the phone is. I found a list from Airalo that says what phones are supported, so I'll put that in the comments and you can have a look. There's an extensive list, but it's not all phones, but it's most of the recent phones. So just an FYI there. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, and the other thing, just once you use it, you basically turn off your cell phone roaming and cell phone data, and you turn on the Airolo eSIM in your settings. They send you emails proactively to tell you you're running out of data. You got to top up if you do. So you never really sort of lost where you're cut out completely and have to start over again. So I think it's been a phenomenal resource for us. All right, are we good to move on to Angel's slides?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. The first tip that I would like to share is the virtual bank Wise. And if we can move to the next slide, you will get the idea. So Wise is a virtual bank They started as an app of the so-called fintech industry. A few years ago, they changed their name a few years ago, and now they're called Wise. But they've been growing steadily over the years, and they've been gaining a lot of subscribers. So this is great because this is a virtual bank. You don't go to a physical office to open the account, nor you ever have to go to one after you open one. Basically, you go online and register. And because every bank, especially those that are multinational, have to comply with certain money laundering regulations, you will get a verification call. And once your bank account is set, then all you have to do first is the desired currency that you want to have a wallet. In this example, you can see on the screen that I have wallets in euros and Canadian dollars. Recently, I've added a third wallet because I've been traveling through Europe as well, and some countries that do not have the euro as a currency may have additional currency added, which is basically done with the few clicks on your phone. You don't have to go to a teller to tell them that you need to add a new bank account in US or in Chilean pesos or in Vietnamese dongs or any other world currency. You can set up wallets in at least 40 currency in Wise right now. And the seeding of these wallets can be done by connecting your Wise account to your Canadian account. This is one way of filling your wallets. The other option is if you are, let's say, a digital nomad and you work abroad and you get your consulting fees in US dollars or British pounds or euros, they can be deposited directly into your Wise account. And from there on, you can shift and move money as you wish. So once you transfer money into Wise, then the next step would be to request a physical card. The benefit of the physical card, and it has Visa on it and a chip. It works at points of sale with tap. It works for online shopping. And by the way, while you're waiting for your digital card, for your physical card to arrive, Wise will provide you with a digital card. That's why on the slide, you see two green Wise cards, because one is the digital card that I received right away when I joined. And the second one is the physical card that I've also added to my wallet. So the benefits of these cards is great. Yes, exactly. The benefits of these cards are few, but they're significant. They save you money. First saving is when it comes to bank transfers. Transferring money to a relative abroad. The fees are significantly lower than your bank fees, and Wise are very proud to display those and tell you how much you save. Pretty much like when you shop at Target or Walmart, and they tell you at the bottom of the receipt how much you've saved that day with your purchase. The other benefit is that you can exchange money between the wallets depending on what you need very quickly, and it comes just with a click of a button. You don't wait hours or days, or you don't have to walk into an exchange bureau to change the funds. As long as you have, let's say, US dollars or Canadian dollars or any other currency, and you want to convert them into a new currency, it's done with the click on your phone. You open the new wallet, and it will ask you whether you want a jar or a wallet. A jar is if you want to designate funds for something, let's say for a gift or for a trip to Siena or to Paris next week, and you want to have this amount for a dinner at the Eiffel Tower. You can also set up a simple wallet. This will be for any type of expenses, paying at a gas station, at a grocery store, at a pharmacy. So the other saving that comes with Wise is that Wise is not going to charge you the 2.5% usually credit card companies charge for foreign exchange fees. This is also great for online shopping. And as an added level of security for Wise is that when you shop with Wise online and you are at the step where you will finalize your purchase, Wise will ask you to confirm your purchase on your phone. So this way, even if your card is lost and somebody is trying to do a purchase with it, they will not be able to complete that purchase online, because as long as they don't have access to your phone and your app, they will not be able to confirm that you approve this purchase.
Yeah.
So receiving money from abroad is very easy. And the other benefit of Wise is, and nowadays Wise is so popular, that transfers between Wise users are absolutely free. So if I want to send Jeff $10,000 tonight, it can be done in 2 seconds with no fees. Because basically these are money within the same bank, and they're moving from this side to this side.
Yeah.
There may be a fee associated if you're making transfer outside of Wise, but still it will be very competitive compared to your regular Canadian or American bank.
Yeah.
And another convenience of Wise, and this is something that happened to me last year, is that when we traveled to Spain, some of our luggage was lost. Not lost, but delayed. And it was delivered about a week after arrival. Of course, during that week, I had to make expenses to get the clothing, toiletries, other necessary things. And this was all added to a list that was sent as a claim to the carrier to be refunded. And here's the convenient thing. The carrier in this case was Lufthansa. And when you send a claim with the receipts, those receipts are all in euro. So Lufthansa says, Mr. Chterev, that's great. We approve your claim. We'll transfer the money in your account. Please give us your euro account. So if you are a regular Canadian traveler and you don't use Wise, chances are you don't have a euro account. So how do you get your money back from the carrier if you don't have a euro account? So this is where Wise came very handy for me, because I just typed my number. And this is the other feature of the application that, for example, in this case, I have a euro and Canadian dollars account. When I go into the app will provide the bank account number with the IBAN number, which is required for interbank transfers. And this is usually the number that institutions that want to send you money will require. And as many wallets you have, you can have as many account numbers. So I had this account number ready. I've entered the account number on the form that I filled on the Lufthansa website for the luggage delay. And sure enough, 3 days later, the money from my expenses was deposited in my euro account. So this was, you can, at the bottom of this slide, I've placed a link to the Wise webpage that you can use to go and look how to sign for this service.
Yeah.
And we're going to move now to Fongo.
Hey,
is our next
before we
slide.
go, I want to add just 2
Yes.
points, because I use this card extensively. It sometimes seems ominous when you want to set these things up, how they work, but it's very intuitive. When you I have 3 accounts in Wise. I have a US dollar, euro, and my Canadian dollar account. So deposit money into the Canadian dollar and move it into euro or US. When I'm in Europe, it automatically pulls money out of my euro account. I don't have to tell it what to do. If I use my Visa card, it comes right out of the euro account. When I'm in the US, it comes out of the US account. So it's very smart. It's very intelligent, and you can e-transfer money from your Canadian bank account into your Wise bank account at a very low fee. So it's easy to get money in. If you just want to use the e-transfer system, I think it's $2 or something. I don't know, Angel. I don't know how you deposit money into your Wise bank account. Is it e-transfer, or do you have it linked somehow?
I have some other sources too.
Okay. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And the other convenience is that also when you're, for example, when in Europe, I'm using my watch because all my wallet is also on the watch. And when I go to a point of sale, when I do the tap with the watch, some vendors may have by default the terminal displaying what kind of currency you want. Then you will.
Yes.
Although it's not every vendor. Some vendors are not like this, and it will by default it will take, as long as I have euro in my account, take the euro.
Yes.
But some vendors on the terminal, you have to specify whether you want the Canadian or euro.
Yep. All right.
Are we ready to go to the next slide? Excellent. So this is Fongo. Fongo is a Canadian business. Fongo has free and paid plans. And the beauty of Fongo is that it gives you the freedom to shake off Rogers or Bell off your back for the time of your travel. And if your travel is longer than a couple of weeks, it may be expensive. They all charge exorbitant roaming fees. And Europe is a paradise for travelers because travel SIM cards are cheap, and the services that provide, for example, my mobile service in Spain comes to about 22 Canadian a month, and it's more than enough. I have 70 gigs of data, and I have 1,200 minutes of phone calls. So what does Fongo do is it gives you the choice of phone number. I've picked a phone number that starts with 647, which is the GTA area code. And I have, and my service, the one that I signed for, is absolutely free. So there's not a dime. I have a free voicemail and text messages. Now, here is the important thing though, when it comes to text messages. I cannot send text messages to, let's say, Jeff or Eric, but I can receive verifications text messages. I receive them with the institutions that I've put my Fongo number as a contact number. For example, in this slide, you see that I have a message from Fido because before leaving Canada, I've suspended my and my wife's Fido accounts. Usually those are about $150 a month. So if we have a 6-month stay in Spain, you can do the math and see how much we're saving. Mm-hmm. Instead of 150, Fido is charging each of our phones $15 a month. So there is a big difference between 150 and $30 for the two phones. At the same time, our phone service in Spain comes to about $40 Canadian, and it's way better than Fido. The other messages that you can receive is, for example, if you register your Fido number with your bank, you will be able to receive verification messages from your bank as well, being BMO or Scotia or another bank. And this is very handy because if you need to touch your RSPs or other investments remotely, you can do that from anywhere in the world, provided you can confirm that it's really you trying to do the transaction. So this is also very handy. Another case, we used Fongo when we had to deal with Air Canada last time when our luggage was delayed. And we also used Fongo to contact our insurance company back in Canada when we needed the extension, because when you have to deal with an insurance company, you know that you'll be put on hold for a very long time, and this will go into roaming, and you don't want to incur those costs. And any questions so far?
Yeah, so just for clarity, so Fongo is free, and you
but
can
Fongo
use,
has a paid plans as well.
Right. So if you want to be able to dial out in whatever country, like if I was in Europe and I wanted to dial back to Canada using Fongo, I think I had to pay, I don't know, what is it, $5 or something, and I get a huge amount of minutes for those kind of calls, and it was through
With
Apple Pay.
Fongo?
Yeah.
With Fongo?
Yeah.
No, I've used Fongo for over a year now.
Oh yeah.
And I've never paid $1 to Fongo.
Oh, okay. So you can call
yes,
okay.
I can call. I can receive calls from Canada.
Yeah.
I can receive even calls from abroad on the Fongo number.
Right.
Because this, as long as the other carriers are concerned, this is just a Canadian number. They will charge the caller.
Right.
So so what I've done with Fongo is I've conducted consultation calls, I've conducted interviews, I've called insurance companies, I've called banks in Canada, and everything was free. The paid service and the benefits of the paid service for with Fongo is that, for example, if I have a paid service, it will give you some more features like sending text messages. But people nowadays can use WhatsApp or Viber or iMessages anyway. Yeah. So what is the point of a paid service?
Okay.
As long as on the free Fongo account, on the free Fongo account, you can get the verification messages from your institutions.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, perfect. So that's it. When you sign up with Fongo, you can specify the number that you want to use and in what country you want that number to be. So when I signed up, it's
no country. This is a Canadian service. So these are area codes that you have a list of choices, not countries. So you get either 647 or any other Canadian area codes that are available. Yes.
Okay, got you. Do we have any questions, by the way? We're Alea, when they
we do have one question actually
I
from
see.
Linda.
Is it similar to I see. Is it similar to text now? We use that in Peru and could do text and calls using internet. Linda, I'm not familiar with text now, but as long as text now can call landlines and phone numbers and mobile numbers in Canada, I guess you can do without. And I see also questions from Linda. So do you have to have data in order to use Wise? Now, any app, and I will go back to answer these questions. So for Wise, as any other app on your phone, you need data. Now, data being data as a prepaid card that comes with 5 gigs or data under Wi-Fi available. So you don't necessarily have to have a data plan to use Wise. As long as you have access to the internet, you can use Wise. For example, even if you don't have roaming, when you travel to Germany and you check into your hotel and you get the password for the Wi-Fi in the hotel, you can connect with Wise and see what it is. The only inconvenience is if you don't have data on your phone, is if you're trying to do a purchase on the fly outside of the hotel. This way, you will not be able to complete the purchase because you will not be able to approve on your phone. But Wise, as long as you have the physical card, or you've added it to your smartwatch or smartphone, you can pay the terminal even without data.
And Angel, I'll just add that if you have Wise on your phone, even if you're in airplane mode and you have no data, which I was in New York this week, you can still make purchases and you don't need to approve it. When you get back to your Wi-Fi, they will appear, but there's somehow the system will allow you to make purchases if you're on airplane mode without data.
Oh no, but no, Eric, this is different because these are purchases at the point of sale. You don't need Wi-Fi for a point of sale because basically it scans the card.
Yes.
But the approval is only for online shopping at a website. This is when it will pop because this is the level of protection for online fraud.
Right. Yes.
And I don't see any. Let me see. Peru. Okay. I think we've addressed all the questions so far, and we can move to the AirTags. Now, these are the AirTags that I bought last year, and who would have known that the first time we use them, we would really get the benefit of those AirTags because as you can see on the second screenshot, these are my 2 suitcases at the airport, and one of the AirTags was left in the car. So I can see the car that it's in the garage. So the car has the little icon of a car. So I've buried one of those AirTags in the car, and the AirTags can be used to track your valuables: cars, bikes, suitcases. I have one on my keychain. You can track your spouse if you want, your kids. Even in the States, many people started using this for tracking elderly parents with dementia. Because the beauty of these devices, and these are similar, are also available for Android phones. Once you buy them after the initial cost, they're absolutely free because those devices, they have a little battery inside, which is good for a year. They emit signal, Bluetooth signal. So as long as they get into range of a network, they manifest themselves. So that's why it's free, because they don't use data on those networks. They simply manifest themselves. And by manifesting themselves in nowadays public places, you have gazillion networks. And all these networks get hits from the signal of the device, and you see how things are moving. So on the third screenshot, you can see the day we were leaving Toronto, there was a glitch in the luggage system, of course, surprise. And we had to drop our luggage in front of the belt. They didn't even go on the belts because the belts were not working. So we dropped our luggage and we proceeded to the security check. Afterwards, we passed control and we ended at the gate. So you can see that we were at the gate and the suitcases were still back at the big hall of the terminal. But while we were at the terminal, I can see where the suitcases are. So this gave us some relief to see that the cases were already on the plane by the time we had to board.
Yeah.
So we knew that they managed to fix it. And on the last screenshot, you see our valuables on one side of the ocean and the car on the other side of the ocean. And I check my car pretty much every other week to see if it's still there. Because the other benefit is that it tells me, as long as I see the car, it tells me that my home router is on.
Yeah.
Because I control remotely my thermostat, and I need to make sure that during the nice Canadian winter, my thermostat is accessible for adjustments.
Right. So, Angel, do you have an iPhone or no? Or no, you don't have an iPhone?
I'm an iPhone user. Yes, I've always been.
So you need an iPhone if you're using an AirTag. That AirTag. If you have an Android, there's another form of AirTag you can get, I guess.
Correct.
Okay.
Samsung Galaxy phones have Galaxy Smart Tags, and they do this pretty much the same job.
Yeah.
And this is from me, so I guess it's Gabi next.
Yeah, we're right on schedule, I think. While we're waiting, I just wanted to shout out to Julia and Lucille and Roberta and Linda. Thank you for joining. You probably have travel tips of your own to lend. So if you do have anything that we've left out that you think would benefit other travelers, why don't you fire them off to us by email, and we'll see if we can include them in the next version of this presentation.
The other benefit of the tags was that when we got the luggage lost, we were able to see where it was.
Yeah.
And when we contacted the airline with Fongo, we told them that we see the luggage. So
right.
it was really helpful in getting the luggage, because the luggage never left Toronto to begin with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the AirTags they're great. I have to say, I really I like them, and I like the way they work. It's kind of interesting. Oh, hotels.com, yeah. I think hotels.com, Linda, is now owned by Expedia. I think Expedia owns VRBO and hotels.com, and they are amalgamating them. Yeah, and by fully cancelable, that's a factor, because a lot of the times when you book to get that super discount, it's not a cancelable rate. So if you have to cancel, you have to walk away from the fare. Wow.
Just to read Linda's comment, she uses hotels.com and books all the hotels very early.
Yeah.
And that 9 times out of 10 that she gets a way better price if she was to wait. And then she checks pricing every couple of weeks and makes adjustments as needed. They've already gotten 10 free nights. Yeah, that's pretty impressive, actually. Always compare to Booking Direct. Gabrielle is called back in. So she should be able to speak now. She's just reconnecting. And actually, to speak to AirTags myself, I did my own traveling for the first time this year, and twice I had issues with luggage. And this is the first time I'd also gotten AirTags as well, and they were a lifeline when you're wondering where your things are and you see that you're in Canada and your luggage is in Italy. There is a bit of a reassuring bit to it, to know that you actually know where they are, even if you can't immediately touch it yourself.
Okay. Right.
Exactly. I watched a family member's luggage move from Montreal and then to Toronto when she had not left Europe yet, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
Gabby, is that you?
Yes, that would be me.
Oh, excellent. I'm happy to hear you there.
Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Well,
Good
nice
afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. I'm a travel specialist with Direct Travel and would like to thank Jeff, Per, and Erik of WWH Financial for inviting me here today to share an overview of how you would like to benefit from using the services of using a travel advisor. Venturing abroad is not only a financial luxury, but a commitment to precious time. An advisor is able to propose an itinerary customized to your needs and wants, while mindfully offering options that align within your proposed budget. Okay. When the world declared a global pandemic, travel advisors played a vital role in helping their clients return home safely from abroad and ensure their future travel arrangements were canceled and refunded. When travel resumed, advisors took on additional duties to ensure that their clients were aware of restrictions and entry policies of the individual destinations, testing prior to departures, and in destinations before returning home, as well as the evolving demands of the airlines. Even though websites have been designed to bring together clients with an array of products, these sites have also been designed to track your destination requests, dates of travel, and often increase the rates to stimulate panic and pressure to make an emotional purchase with no further regard. An advisor's system is not tracked the same way, and we are able to view inventory in real time. Products are not advertised or offered at rates that do not exist. Fishing or baiting for interest is not practiced. Local tourism, businesses network, and travel brokerages all work together. Relationships have been formed. We are entrusted with a client. Therefore, we ask that our counterparts stay true to our business alignments. We will send them clients to stay in their hotels, take an excursion with a local guide, venture to a local restaurant to enjoy domestic cuisine, and in turn, these suppliers operate ethically and responsibly to uphold a contractual commitment, ensuring that the services booked will be honored. With the evolving needs of clients while traveling, numerous insurance policies for their protection were created. Determining which is best suited to your individual needs can be daunting, as it is based on many factors, some of which are your exact travel itinerary, the fare basis and its restrictions, as well as your personal medical history. A policy is customized for your individual needs based on your criteria, ensuring you have the proper amount of insurance should a situation arise, while not overpaying for coverage you do not require. Purchasing insurance with a reputable company ensures that you have support 24/7 while in destination, and they are available to advise on a course of action. If it's a medical emergency, care is not delayed with payment for your care going directly to the caregiver. Evaluations by medical staff determine if the care available is adequate or if transporting to another facility is required. All these discussions are conducted between the insurance provider and the medical staff to ensure you receive the best possible care you require. Travel insurance continuously evolves as the demands of the environment dictate. As the world reopened and travelers began to venture abroad, positive COVID testing required a period of quarantine. This brought a whole slew of issues such as hotel expenses, daily food consumption, rebooking return flights. Insurance policies were devised to protect you and your pocketbook from providing a safety net, cover these expenses should the situation arise. Using insurance, which is offered with a credit card, may have certain limitations depending on the kind of insurance affiliated with that card. Oftentimes, paying out of pocket, even for costly services, is required with claims and paperwork submitted upon your return. Buyer beware. You get exactly what you pay for. Advisors are able to maximize your experience by providing suggestions that complement the itinerary with activities that enhance your vision of an amazing experience. We develop relationships with our clients, getting an understanding of your likes, dislikes, and most importantly, your expectations. Travel can be broken down into two categories. Category 1 is for necessity, and 2 for pleasure and enjoyment. In the leisure scope, travel is often referenced as a bucket list or a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. With so many destinations to visit and the wide array of types of travel available to choose from, it can become very overwhelming. Information overload, a scope of advice and reviews from travelers who are sharing personal opinions whom you do not know or understand their expectations can be misleading. By enlisting the assistance of a travel advisor, you are ensured to purchase the most suitable resort in a destination that is comfortable and pleasing, with the best and most convenient travel route. Choosing an advisor to take care of all your arrangements enables you to confidently mark off a destination as a wonderful and memorable experience and a worthwhile investment of your time and money. I'd like to thank you for partaking in today's webinar. I welcome an opportunity to work with you establishing those travel dreams, and I invite you to reach out using the email, texting, or even calling with questions and inquiries for all your future travel needs. Once again, a special thank you to Jeff, Per, and Erik of WWH Financial for extending the invite to me to participate today.
Thank you, Gabby. While I have you on the phone, were there any destinations that you were recommending recently, what with the situation, the issues of the world, or not recommending for that matter, or any destinations that you thought had exceptional value or interest?
Currently, one of the best and hottest selling commodities are cruises, for the sake that with the turmoil that is going on in many destinations, a cruise can up and lift and change its itinerary at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
So whether it's a weather disruption or whether it may be an uprising in the country and they need to move you to a safer location, you're able to do that and carry on with your vacation. So it is one that is post-pandemic. We found that cruises were a huge, huge interest.
Yeah. No, I know a number of people that have done the cruises, but the thing is, the cruise lines, the ships are getting so big now. I know there still is, risk of COVID outbreaks or certain kinds of outbreaks on ships because it's such close quarters. Are there smaller ships that you recommend with fewer passengers that make for a more exclusive kind of experience, not like the Disneyland experience?
Absolutely. There's a number of different cruise lines that are available to us worldwide, not necessarily the ones that are just blasting our social networks, like say the larger ships with 3,000 passengers. They have ones that will have a couple of hundred individuals on there. With that comes a different kind of experience. It's more personalized. There are more staff usually available to assist you in anything that you desire. They help you plan excursions when you do land in a port, as well as other kinds of itineraries such as river cruising. And if that is of interest, it is definitely a different kind of experience because it gets you into more remote areas of the country, allowing you to not see the commercialization of a port per se. It allows you to cover more land and have a different kind of experience. It's fantastic. It's easier to get on and off of a riverboat cruise because you're not necessarily always doing all of your check-ins and check-out with immigration as you go into another city. It's all done ahead of time for you, making your experience that much easier.
Okay. I think Linda just mentioned the Windstar line, I guess. Is that a cruise ship line?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So she said she loved that experience. She was very impressed with them.
Yeah, there's a number of different products available depending on what the client is seeking. Whatever kind of experience that they're looking for. It could be high energy, it could be more for rest and relaxation, it could have the itinerary that they're hoping for, which all the different cruise lines normally have a couple of ships allocated to those bodies of water. So you have a lot of selection unfortunately, sometimes we do not see that wave of advertisement. So it's easier to come to an agent to ask them what might be available to do a cruise in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
Am I restricted to 2 or 3 cruise lines? And the answer is you have a multitude of additional cruise lines that you're not even aware of exist that
Yeah.
you can take
Yeah.
and venture out. It's just a matter of changing up the paperwork because you are a citizen of a different country where that boat is registered somewhere else. So it's all doable. It's just a matter of whatever your preference is.
Okay, well, that's very good advice. I know Gabriela comes highly recommended if people are interested in working with a travel agency or agent. And for sure during COVID, the fact that, we had an agent to help us get back to Canada and help us deal with the refunds and the airlines was immensely helpful. So, when times are good, sometimes you think planning on your own, you save a few dollars, but sometimes any disruption to plans, and it's nice to have someone back home who can make all the connections that you need to sort out your travel plans.
Absolutely. We're there to support in every step of your journey, from beginning, during, and after if needed.
Excellent. All right. Well, I think, Erik, if you want to wrap up the call, I think we've done our hour. And again, I want to thank everyone for attending. And Angel, I know it's about 6 o'clock in Spain, your time.
Actually, we're in Bulgaria right now, so it's 7 hours
Oh,
difference. But we're
okay.
here for 3 weeks to visit family, and we're going back to Spain in early December.
Oh, beautiful. Well, the connection is perfect in Bulgaria. So kudos to the Bulgarian IT system.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, good. Thank you again. Anything you want to add, Erik, before we close off?
Nope. Thank you to everybody for joining, and I hope you learned some actionable tips, and it was worthwhile. And wishing everybody a nice next trip wherever that may be.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.